Good morning, Soho Parish. This week, as part of Black History Month, in our assemblies we've been focusing on Black British people who have contributed to society and learning about their stories. Yesterday, we learnt about Claudia Jones, the founder of the Notting Hill Carnival. I learnt something new, and I hope you did too. Today, we're going to be learning about another really important figure in British history. His name was Samuel Coleridge Taylor. Here are some photos of him. Look at the pictures and use your detective skills to see what the clues in the pictures might tell us about him and his life. Who was he? When did he live? And what is he famous for, do we think? Pause the video here so you can discuss with your partner and then share with the class. I wonder what ideas you came up with. Let's learn about his story and see if you were right. Samuel Coleridge Taylor was a composer and conductor, which means that he wrote music and directed musicians to play it too. Samuel was born in Holborn, which is not too far away from our location here in Soho. He was born in 1875 to an English mother and a father originally from Sierra Leone, which is in West Africa. He liked to be identified as Anglo-African. He was born during the reign of Queen Victoria, so he was a Victorian. He was a black classical musician, which was very unusual at that time. His name was given to him after the famous poet Samuel Taylor Coleridge, who curiously became a great source of inspiration to him during his career. He was raised in a family of keen musicians, and therefore he was able to study music from an early age and sang in 2 church choirs. He was very talented and got the chance to study at the Royal College of Music in 1890, when he was only 15. He began by studying the violin, but after 2 years changed to studying composition. His work was noticed by Edward Elgar, a famous composer. Soon enough, Taylor began writing compositions, and after completing his degree, his career as a composer went from strength to strength. The bright young composer made his musical debut with Ballade in A minor, for which he was called a genius by music publisher August Jaeger. Conscious of his African background, Taylor's classical compositions were heavily influenced by traditional African music, and this made him one of the most forward-thinking writers of his time. Despite the black community's ongoing battle against racism, one of his pieces of musical work called Hiawatha's Wedding Feast was so popular that it led him to embark on 3 tours of the United States. In fact, his work across music and politics was so well received that in 1904 he was even invited by President Theodore Roosevelt to visit the White House, which was a significant event for African Americans. Before the times of radios, the internet, iPods and CDs, people had to play music on their own instruments. Shops would sell the sheet music so people could play themselves. This particular piece of music gave people an opportunity for magnificent jamborees. People of all ages dressed up in Indian-style costumes and paraded the streets in procession to enjoy performances of Hiawatha's Wedding Feast. Apart from Hiawatha's Wedding Feast, another best-known work that is known today is called Deep River, a traditional African-American spiritual piece of music. Pause the video here and listen to some of both of these pieces of music. How do they sound different? What do they make you feel as you listen to them? Do they bring up different emotions, perhaps? Which one sounds more celebratory and might make you want to dance in the street? Pause the video, have a listen, and then come back. Unfortunately, Samuel died young in 1912. He was only 37 when he died, of pneumonia in Croydon, which is in South London. For a few years before his death, he was working very, very hard. He produced a set of works called 24 Negro Melodies, which was very groundbreaking for his day. The set is divided into sections covering Southeast Africa, South Africa, West Africa, the West Indies, and finally America. He wanted to try to make the music of black workers in the USA better known. He travelled to the USA 3 times and was very popular there. What do you think would have happened to Samuel if he had been born in 1995 rather than 1875? How might his life have been different? Pause the video and discuss as a class. Samuel Coleridge Taylor remains, by popular opinion, one of Britain's greatest black classical music composers. Of course, there were and are other outstanding black British performers and composers, men and women, in classical, jazz, popular music and other genres, but it's Coleridge Taylor who is held in greatest esteem in the English classical tradition. For Samuel Coleridge Taylor, the prime concern was always the music. In his own words, "I want to be nothing in the world except what I am, a musician." There are 2 blue plaques in his memory, one in Dagnall Park, South Norwood, and the other in St Leonard's Road, Croydon, at the house where he died. So thank you for listening to me today, Soho Parish. I hope you've learnt something about Samuel and his important life. So let's finish our assembly with a prayer. Dear God, thank you for the life of Samuel Coleridge Taylor and for what he has contributed to British arts. May people continue to be inspired by his work for years to come. Help us to be able to nurture our talents and creativity. May we inspire someone today, tomorrow, and every day in how we contribute to our community through our positive words and actions. Amen. So thank you for listening, Soho Parish, and have a good day.